All right. Welcome to our new 10 podcast series called Tech Culture. I'm Shonna Dorsey with the Nebraska Tech Collaborative, powered by the Aksarben Foundation, here with my co-host for this series, Blake Hoogeveen, with Mindset and BetterCulture. Thank you for being here.
Great to be here. Thanks, Shonna.
So just to kind of level set folks, as you mentioned, each episode standalone. So tell us a bit about Mindset and BetterCulture.
Yeah, with Mindset and BetterCulture, we work with organizations that value having a good work culture. So we oftentimes work with companies that have a good culture and they want to be great. So we're helping them develop their leaders, develop their employees so they have a better work culture. And we work with companies, again, that believe that leads to a better business.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so one of the goals of this series is to support one of the NTC's objectives, which is to increase or raise Nebraska's tech profile, also retain talent in the state, attract and retain, both important, and develop, critical. So with that, we're bringing this series to you guys to just share more about culture and how each of us plays a role in our company's culture. It's not up to the company to set the culture. We each contribute to that. So today's topic is the first tenet of BetterCulture, which is being coachable.
I love that, Shonna. And just connecting the dots a little bit too. I mean, the reason we work with companies is they want to have a work culture that's capable of attracting, helping them develop, and retaining great people.
Yep.
And there's so many leaders that talk about the challenge today of attracting and retaining talent. I think a lot of them would be wise to step back and realize culture owns talent. If you want better people, you should be prioritizing what can we do to create a work environment that would actually have people looking forward to coming into work each day.
Yep.
So I do think that's interesting. And our company, it spun out of a company here in Omaha, QLI, that was 5 times #1 best place to work. So I do think one goal for NTC, I know it is a priority, probably the reason we're doing this is how do we help companies build better cultures? Because a lot of people leave their job and they might leave the state if they have a lousy work experience.
Right. And then also, to me, I'm all about accountability. And so I love to think about how can I as an individual contribute to a better culture within my company, which means now we have better company cultures within the city, state, et cetera. So love it.
I love that. And companies love employees that have that mentality.
Right.
That I'm accountable and I want to be a positive force for helping my organization be a better place to work.
Okay. So we're going to start today with tenet number 1, which is?
Yes. So tenet number 1 for our 20 tenets of culture product is coachable. So just quick background with this 20 tenets product. For a decade plus, we were working with organizations saying, what can leaders do to build and protect culture? This 20 tenets product focuses on every employee. It's really great for the types that are like Shonna, that want to have a good place to work. We believe there's a battle going on in a lot of work organizations between your best employees that are upbeat, positive, they want to have a great work environment, and some employees that we label vacuums. We think they suck the energy and optimism out of the room. This 20 tenets product is really designed to tilt the world in favor of your best people and help them really elevate the work culture. So one of the ways that we do that is by helping people really reflect on how coachable am I? And for a lot of people, I think the real answer is not as coachable as you think you are.
Right. I think that would be true for me. Sometimes I have coachable ebbs and flows. It's like a roller coaster.
I would agree. And honestly, before we built this product and really dove into the content, I thought I was more coachable than I was. We currently break it down for people, trying to help them really understand what it means to be coachable. We think there are 3 levels of being coachable. At the worst, you're defensive and you argue when somebody gives you feedback.
Yes.
Here's an opportunity to grow. Somebody is giving you their time and their advice. And rather than saying thank you, you decide to say, no, that's not right. I'm going to argue. That's not being coachable. I already hinted, if you say thank you, you reflect. That's the second level of being coachable. That's good. I think a lot of companies would be pleased if their employees would just say thank you when they get feedback. But the highest level of being coachable is you take your development in your own hands and you actively seek feedback. So that is something that, again, we're trying to get clarity in people's minds. What's a framework that I can reflect on? And then if I focus, put some effort into it, you can really become better at all of these skill sets that are our 20 tenets of culture.
Yeah, that's so interesting because I guess the typical like coaching and review process is a performance evaluation. That's what I'm most familiar with. But one that's a little bit less formal, but something that employers could think about, or managers, is especially if they use like agile project management, is you've got acceptance criteria in most of your stories, or you should, where it's like, this is what done looks like. And so having that in there and then using that as a basis for a conversation point to say, well, is that what was expected? Are there things that we need to be doing differently or thinking about differently in the future? And even at the end of your sprint, if you will, during that retrospective time, that's a great time to have that conversation again. But again, just having people be more proactive about it versus waiting for that dreaded performance evaluation day a quarter away, where you kind of have heard some things, but you're not really sure what's going to show up. And, you know, I think it's tough for a person to not be defensive in that type of situation.
Absolutely. If you get feedback and you think it's unfair, you might be defensive. You'd probably be wise to respectfully push back.
Sure.
But just again, putting you in the mind of a manager. If your role as a manager is to develop your direct reports, help them be more successful, you oftentimes have ideas of what they could be doing even better. Wouldn't it be wonderful if, I don't know, once a month they said, hey, Shonna, is there anything else that I could be doing that would help me be more successful? Like that tees up a manager or anybody to give great advice.
Yes.
But so many times people don't ask. They don't seek the feedback. They don't seek coaching. And that really limits their growth.
That is so interesting. Okay, so going up these levels, so we have that defensive, been there, middle, thank you, and what do they say? What's that?
Yep, so they reflect on it. So
okay.
if you give me some feedback like, hey, Blake, I think you would be better on this podcast if you were closer to the mic. Like I might think that's not great advice, but if I want to be coached, I should say, thanks, I really appreciate it. I will take that advice.
Okay. And not necessarily that you'll do something with it, but you're accepting.
Absolutely.
You're open to it.
Right.
And then that top level is seeking the feedback.
Right. So again, in this podcast example, if I actually want to be coached before this episode, I could have told you like, hey, I don't do this all the time. If you see me do anything that could be even better, let me know.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, we're friends, Shonna, I know that. But between segments, you're going to be more likely to give me tips if I ask. Yeah,
that is so true. And I think that just even having the courage, if you will, to thank you. I was like, yeah, it's a good conversation. But having the courage to ask is so huge. But it also makes it more likely, like, to help develop that trust and camaraderie with the manager and associate. And also it's huge. I'm just thinking about as I've had staff in the past and how welcoming that would be for me, because I don't always want to feel like I'm just constantly saying, well, this could be better and different, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. You want to coach people that want to grow.
Right.
And again, this is a big missed opportunity for a lot of people, because if you don't show that you want to be coached, people aren't going to give you as much of their time and advice. And you miss a big opportunity in life when you don't get correction and ideas. So that's, again, what we're focusing on with the 20 tenets. They're soft skills.
Yep.
We believe there's really nothing soft about them. So many people could improve, and being coachable is one. We start with it for good reason.
Yep.
If you're more coachable, you're going to gain from the rest of our 20 tenets as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think I'm going to take this advice too for myself as I'm going into conversations. I have one-on-ones all of the time with my leader, and I'll be asking that question. I think I do, but I'm going to be sure to bring that in.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let me know how it goes.
I sure will. Well, thank you for this, and we'll see y'all on the next one.
Thank you, Shonna. That was fun.